You should be focusing on being healthy to fulfill your purpose. So as a follower of Christ, one who seeks God and seeks to do the will of God, think about it. We all believe that we're on this earth for a reason. We believe that God created us for, it could be a variety of things. Sometimes we might have a good idea of what that purpose is. Sometimes we don't. But we believe that the fact that we are here now is significant, and that God knew what he was doing when he created us with the tools that we have in the time period that he's placed us in. So what I'm saying is, you and I have to be intentional about taking care of our bodies for that reason alone. See my title? Healthy on purpose for your purpose. So, a lot of times in the church, because we don't really focus on health, or we don't really see health in and of itself as a topic that we should really consider like intentionally, we will tend to just kind of like take health as it comes. When you're young, you typically have it, and then you get older, then you start dealing with ailments and stuff like that, and it's just a part of getting older. That's what we always assume. But the thing is, y'all, if we believe that we're here for a reason, part of it is, think about it, it's non-negotiable that part of us fulfilling our purpose has to be the maintenance of our health, because this is literally like this is the glove, so to speak, the shell. This is what we do it in. I like to call the body like the interface between the real us and the world. It allows us to interact with the world, interact with people, and all this kind of stuff. And I may have said this in a video, one of my recent videos, but I really believe this to be true. And I was telling somebody this just yesterday. I believe in today's world, in the 21st century, in 2026, we have a much bigger task in front of us when it comes to maintaining our bodies. Much bigger than like our grandparents, because of the change in the landscape, because of the fact that we have so much unhealthy food, so unhealthy of a lifestyle, in particular in the country that we live in. The lifestyle is so naturally unhealthy. I was hearing somebody talking about, there's a guy being interviewed, and he was talking about how here in America, you go to different countries around the world, and I'm going somewhere, but we go to different countries around the world, and you know them for certain foods. Like in Italy, you know them for their pasta dishes and different things like that. You go to Nigeria, and you know them for the rice dishes and stuff like that, peanut dishes, and you go, those different places for different things. You come to America, you know us for our hamburgers. You know us for fries. You know us for junk. In this country, we have a task in front of us. And so for example, if you believe that you are called to be a business owner, or to be, a minister of some kind, you do it in this body. And because we have such an unhealthy atmosphere around us, if we're not intentional, then poor health is almost guaranteed. Because, and this is what came to me earlier today when I was driving around. In this country, in this society, we've normalized unhealthy living. It's normal, which means that if you and I are not intentional about, for example, getting our sleep, getting our fruits and vegetables, avoiding processed food as much as possible, moving our bodies. I'm not even talking about exercise. I'm talking about just generally moving around a lot during the day. If we're not intentional about those things, we are going to do the unhealthy things because they're normal here. True story. Back in the day, I used to read from certain fitness websites, and I read a story. It was like a transformation story of this young man who had come here from maybe Jamaica, and he adopted the American lifestyle, and he started getting a whole lot of health problems. He think he was living in a big city like New York or something like that. And so he was eating lots and lots and lots of junk food and all that stuff. He started to get really serious health problems, high blood pressure, all this kind of stuff. And then he was like, hold on a second. This all started happening whenever I started to like adopt the American lifestyle. So let me go back to eating kind of food from like where I'm from. So like, you know, Jamaican food, you know, which has a lot of vegetables and, you know, fresh food and all this kind of stuff. And so he went back to that and all his problems went away, and he started lifting weights and all this stuff, and it's very healthy. But he had to be very intentional about returning back to the lifestyle of like his people. And so I say that to say this: whether you, like I say, are called to be a business owner, or called to be like a singer, a preacher, you know, a leader of some kind, you know, to be, you know, even whatever it is, you know, just to go and, I don't know, whatever it is that you feel like God has called you to do. I'm sure you agree with me on this. You do it better when you feel better. You do it better when you feel better. You do it better whenever your body is actually has the energy, it has the stamina. You know, you're not carrying excess weight. You know, you're not dealing with health problems, you know, like high blood pressure and, you know, various other illnesses caused by lifestyle. You do it better when your body is in the best shape. So I'm a firm believer. I'm not saying that you have to become like a gym rat or something like that. Even though I really like going to the gym, I like lifting weights and doing stuff. You don't have to like all that stuff. But the main thing that I'm saying is, I sincerely believe, especially if you live in a society like ours, that you and I must be extremely intentional about our choices related to our bodies, related to the food we ingest, related to how much rest we get, related to how we manage stress, related to our exercise, and different things like that. Because again, to not focus on those, to not be intentional in this society means to almost guarantee health problems, because unhealthy living is normalized in a society like ours. Let me know what you guys think about this, and thank you for watching.